On the Six on Your Side live hot seat tonight, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the special agent in charge here in New Orleans, James Bernazzani, and from Operation Clean Sweep, Fred Radtke. Gentlemen, thanks for visiting Studio B.
Pleasure to be here.
Let's begin with you, Mr. Radtke. For those who might be out there thinking, with all the violence and shooting taking place in the metro area, why are we wasting time talking about graffiti? Why are we?
Well, basically, graffiti is a situation where you don't know the difference between if a kid 12 years old goes out and with a spray can and sprays a wall, or a gang-related person goes out and spray paints a wall. You don't know the difference. And the thing is, it puts fear, regardless of who does it, into the neighborhood. And our goal is to eliminate that situation before it becomes a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is it starts destroying the quality of life in that neighborhood. And in doing so, then other types of crimes start to affiliate with that type of situation.
Mr. Bernazzani, how are crime problems manifested by graffiti from the FBI's point of view?
Well, particularly Latin gangs tag. They tag their turf, and they use graffiti with their signs to tell people in town, this is our territory, don't come in. It's mostly in the Latin area, but it's important for the people to understand that although we have individual members of Latin gangs in the region, we don't have any organized Latin gang movement yet. But we're working with...
You say movement yet. Is that something that you expected to develop post-Katrina?
Unlike most gang members, Latin gang members are skilled craftsmen, carpenters, masons, electricians. They follow the construction trade. And this area is going to be in for a huge construction boom. So we have to be ready to understand if they are going to migrate to this area as a clique or a chapter. And if so, we have to work with law enforcement, JP, Kenner, NOPD, the FBI, together to neutralize them before they gain too much traction. And
Mr. Radtke, how big is the graffiti problem compared to what was happening pre-Katrina?
Well, pre-Katrina, we were actually reduced graffiti 65% overall in the city and 85% in the French Quarter. What happened afterwards, just like everybody else, we lost a lot of supplies. We were relocated. And for about 3 months, we were really out of pocket. And what happened was these graffiti taggers started to infiltrate back into the city and start doing graffiti. Even on the internet, they were relating the fact that we weren't in operation.
So they're that organized?
Some are, yes.
That they're on the internet talking to each other about?
Absolutely. And
which areas are they targeting more than others?
It's not so much more, it's the idea that they target an area where they can be seen. And this could be the French Quarter, this could be areas uptown, this could be on the highway, on the I-10. It was very prevalent a month or two after the storm. You started seeing all kinds of graffiti on the highway itself. And then afterwards it started going into the quarter.
Mr. Bernazzani, considering the culture that we live in is rather laissez-faire, 24-hour bars, very party-like atmosphere, to what extent does that contribute to our crime problem?
Relative to violent crime, the majority of violent crime is being perpetrated by disenfranchised African-American individuals involved in the drug trade. They're returning to a city that's about 60% uninhabitable, and they're migrating to the least affected areas to include a spillover into the Jefferson Parish on the West Bank. And as these individuals establish new turf, new drug markets, they're going to have competition, and unfortunately, they resolve conflict through violence.
Are they, when they go into new turf, new areas, do they try to establish their presence in some way, such as the graffiti that Mr. Radtke's fighting?
The African-American gang, and I use that term loosely, these are neighborhood or family associations, don't use that much graffiti. Graffiti is usually in the area of the Asian gangs, which we have a couple small ones in New Orleans East, as well as the Latin gangs. And again, we don't have any structured Latin gang presence here. We have individual members who are members of structured gangs.
Mr. Radtke, how often do you have to go back into the same areas to undo graffiti?
We go back realistically maybe twice weekly sometimes in some of these areas. We eliminated in 4 days over 1,000 graffiti tags in the French Quarter alone. We have situations where you have these groups, they may not be gang related, but these are groups out there, some may be anarchists that might go out there and try to create chaos where there is already problems in those certain neighborhoods. They try to make more chaos of it by creating graffiti out there that maybe everybody else might think is gang related.
Mr. Bernazzani, the recent front page headline in USA Today brands the New Orleans area, or New Orleans specifically, as the most dangerous city in the nation. As head of the FBI for this region, how do you see it?
I don't believe that. There are Many cities are experiencing a spike in violent crime. Cincinnati, Newark, New Jersey, Detroit. What's going on right now, and I honestly believe, the violent individuals who are intent on returning to the city are already here. So we need to work together with JP, NOPD, FBI, Louisiana State Police, Kenner PD, Gretna PD, and move after these individuals and bring them through a system that understands the rule of law and understands the consequence of criminal activity. Luckily, hopefully, the revolving door has stopped. That is a huge plus for the quality of life of the people of New Orleans, because that was a failure in the system.
With about 20 seconds left, you would definitely disagree with that headline that New Orleans is the most dangerous place in the country.
Absolutely.
All right. Mr. Radtke, Mr. Bernazzani, thanks for being on the hot seat.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.